What's up, everybody? I need to rant for a little bit. I hear so many conversations about how bad Marvel Rivals has been lately, how it's dying, how toxic the community is, and all this other stuff, and I just had a lot on my mind. I needed to just hit record and turn on a video. I'm not gonna script it. And listen, I know I'm gonna get a lot of people angry at me because I don't agree with you that Marvel Rivals is the worst game ever, and I'm not having the worst experience of my life. I get it. But if you wanna look at actual facts and data rather than just what you're hearing, then you're going to enjoy this video. So just to set the premise real quick, okay? Next week is my birthday. I turn 40 years old. I know, I'm an old man and it's very depressing, but what I'm getting at is I have been an online gamer since late 90s, early 2000, from 56K into the high-speed modem era, all right? From that time forth, I have been involved in online gaming communities, so I have quite a bit of experience. But I'm also somebody who looks at data. So to kind of set the stage for you real quick, for those of you who don't know, a lot of people have been complaining about Marvel Rivals for a couple reasons. One of them is the toxic community. Let's get this out of the way. I don't know if you guys have seen the clip. Okay, there's a clip of Ninja crying his eyes out. Okay, he's not literally crying, but he is complaining about how the Marvel Rivals community is toxic and he's leaving. He's not gonna play anymore because people in his games, they just throw the matches and they like being toxic to him, and woe is me, he's such a victim, all right? Then Timthetatman, he came around and he's like, oh my God, it's so toxic too. This is toxic, this is just like Overwatch. I agree with Ninja. I've heard some others say it too, Flats, some other big creators, and listen, like I said, I've been gaming since the 90s and I don't know who these people are playing with. First off, let's discuss Ninja's experience. Okay, when Timthetatman, I love Timthetatman. I work from home. I would watch him stream. He's a fun guy. He's hilarious. And he would play a lot with Ninja. When Tim wasn't on, I would watch Ninja play. I would mainly watch Ninja play just to watch him rage out. Ninja is the type of person who losing is never his fault. He's the least self-aware person on this planet. He doesn't play hero shooters, so it was weird when he came into Marvel Rivals and he was screaming at complete strangers on the internet, telling them how to play, telling them who to pick, telling them why their picks are bad. What I'm getting at is, a lot of the times Ninja was instigating this. I watched it all the time. So it is crazy to me to watch this man say, oh my God, the Marvel Rivals community is so toxic, people just come in and troll me. Well, it's like if you've created this persona of being a jerk who yells at people and complains, yes, people are going to come troll you. When Tim was regularly playing Rivals, I never saw that happen. I saw people excited to play with Tim. They would like talk to him in chat, they would talk to him on the microphone. They were genuinely excited to play with him. Ninja, on the other hand, since he trash talks everybody, has a much different experience. What does this mean for the average player? I see this as well. From my personal experience, I see people instigate it, okay? And then when somebody on the team gets mad, they throw, they be toxic right back. They're like, oh my God, the community's so toxic. But so often this is being instigated. And if you want my personal opinion as an old man who used to be bad at talking to people and used to have anger issues, what I see is a lot of people just don't know how to talk to people in a nice way, all right? Like, people don't know how to say, hey man, like, it doesn't seem like, that hero's working out for you. Are there any other duelists that you could play? Hey, do you wanna switch? Hey, do you wanna do this? And just have a conversation. Instead, it's like, you're bad, you're terrible, you're the worst DPS player I've ever seen. What are you doing? Get off the game. You know what I mean? Like, you have to learn how to talk to people. We are creating the toxicity by not knowing how to have a conversation with somebody or give them any kind of constructive feedback, all right? Now, that's Ninja. Now, as far as my personal experience, it is much different than everybody else's. I play a lot of Marvel Rivals. I've been playing since the alpha, and this is one of the least toxic communities I've been a part of. But I will say, like, it's wild to me that people are acting like Marvel Rivals is an outlier when they have this experience. I started off in Counter-Strike, back like before 1.6, okay? I have played Dota, I've played League of Legends, I played Heroes of the Storm, I played everything in between, all sorts of online competitive games. Marvel Rivals has been the least bad. If I had to pick, some of you might get mad, I would say my worst experience with toxic players was in the Dota community. That's right, I said it. Some of it was Counter-Strike, but I think Dota takes the cake for me. But anyways, I've been playing Marvel Rivals for a year now, even though it just came out in December. I was in the very first alpha, I was in the betas, and different closed tests and everything like that. I'll tell you this, I cannot remember the last time that I have heard someone called me a slur. I cannot tell you the last time somebody in my ranked match threw a game, okay? If I reached far back in my memory and I think of a guy who might have thrown the game intentionally, it was because somebody on my team instigated it, okay? So I don't know what experience other people have. And listen, this is all anecdotal, just like everybody complaining about the toxic community, but my anecdotal experience is, if you don't start crap with people on your team, they don't do toxic things. It's crazy how that works out, all right? So anyways, that's the toxicity about the game. I've said my piece. Now, some other complaints about the game. What's interesting is I see people arguing contradictory things. And what I always try to do, I try to put myself in other people's shoes, all right? Not only am I a gamer, and I try to put myself in other gamers' shoes to understand their experience, but I try to understand the experience of the developers. What do they do? What's the solution for them, all right? I am not kidding you when I saw, just within a matter of minutes, I saw somebody complaining who is high elo, that the game is not competitive enough. There are far too many bad players getting into the high ranks. The game is not competitive enough. Then, within minutes, I saw somebody else saying, the game is too competitive. I thought this game was built for casuals. I thought casual people were supposed to be able to play this game and have fun, but everybody's sweating. It is not fun for me. Now I want you to sit back, okay? You heard the side of those two gamers. Now I want you to sit back. Imagine you are a NetEase developer, okay? And you're taking in this feedback. What do? Do you make the game more competitive, or do you make it less competitive and more casual? Whose opinion do you take? Like, do you understand why that might be difficult? Like, I have no idea what I would do with so many contradictory complaints about my game. You know what I mean? Now, listen, I don't think the game's perfect. I probably should have started out with that, because some of you have probably already turned the video off thinking I'm some shill for NetEase. But anyways, like, the game's not perfect. Maybe, yeah, there's definitely balance issues. I wish some people got buffed. I wish some people got nerfed, all that kind of stuff. But NetEase has been pretty good thus far, listening to the community and trying to make changes. And I don't mind when they switch up the meta, every season, we'll have a diver meta, then they've retune that, and then we have like a flyer meta, and then we have this and this and this. It's whatever. It's interesting. It keeps you on your toes. You have to adapt. It's not perfect, but I just want people to just put themselves in the developer's shoes for just a second and understand how difficult it must be with all of the complaints they're getting in. Then you also have to take into consideration how many people say this character is terrible or this character is overpowered. NetEase has data on their end that probably shows that you are wrong and your opinion is not correct on this, and they have the data to prove it. I come from the Marvel Snap community, and this is a tale as old as time. You'll see people just saying how broken some card is in the game and all this, then Second Dinner comes out with the data and they're like, listen, it's not that strong. It's not really doing that good, And don't get me wrong, Second Dinner, the creators of Marvel Snap, they need to do some balance things as well, and they try to do their best, right? But like, what I'm getting at is a lot of people feel a certain way, but it's not backed by the actual data. Speaking about the actual data, I wanted to conclude this video with a section I like to call, let's look at the data and see if Marvel Rivals is dying, okay? I regularly check the Steam charts and steamdb.info, because I've been around for a while. I play a lot of live service games, and I'm always worried that the game I enjoy playing is going to die. So I'm always checking the charts. I'm just like, okay, how's this game doing? Is this one at risk? Because yeah, it sucks. I'll fall in love with a game, it dies, right? And that's one of the bummers about live service games in general, is that you have to worry about them constantly having a player base and making money and all that, or it might go out the window. But the thing is, for everybody who's like, oh my God, the game's dying, there was a viral post from this terrible, terrible video game news outlet, quote unquote, called like videogamer.com, and like some of the Marvel Rivals like leaks accounts or intel accounts, they share it. And it was going viral about how Marvel Rivals is like losing its player base and all this. And it's not telling you the full story, okay? It's a bit deceptive, it's a little bit of rage bait, and it's playing into people's confirmation bias. People are like, I'm not enjoying the game, so I'm going to agree with and share this article saying the game's dying just to show other people that I'm right about this game being terrible, all right? So let's talk, okay? Let's look at Marvel Rivals numbers real quick. So again, it's not telling you the whole story. So right now what you're seeing on screen is Marvel Rivals numbers from when it released, okay, and they were having it at like 180,000, and then it goes to, oh, what did I click? Okay, and then we had a peak, boom, of 645,000 almost, oh, 644,000. This was when season 1 came out with the Fantastic Four, well, 2 of the Fantastic Four characters. Then you see this decline, and yes, it's true, the player base is declining. But real quick, before I show you some other data real quick, like, do you understand how much $1 billion is, okay? Like most of us think $1 million is a lot of money, all right? Now think about 100 million. Think about how that would set you for life, set your children up for life, set your grandchildren up for life. 100 billion is a tenth of $1 billion, okay? So are you following me? Now imagine you had tens of billions or hundreds of billions of dollars, and then you lost 5 billion, 10 billion. That's nothing. You are still set for life. You are one of the richest people on earth. What I'm getting at is when you have such a large number and you lose some, you're still ahead of most of the population. And that's what we're seeing with Marvel Rivals. So it's a bit deceptive to say the player base is dropping, and that's a sign that they're dying. So if we go to the main SteamDB page and you look at Marvel Rivals is consistently in the top 10. This is something that no other game that I can think of, let me know down in the comments, this is something that no other game in the last 5 years plus has been able to do this consistently for this long. Other games might peak real quick and then they die out. The fad, whatever it is, it just dies, it goes away. Marvel Rivals is consistently in the top 10 all days of the week, any time of day, consistently in the top 10. Do they drop sometimes? Sure, right? But right now, at the time of recording this, it is a Monday night at 9:40 Pacific time, and they're sitting here in the top, okay? So the last 5 years, let me rattle off some other games. So one game that I loved playing that unfortunately died because the devs screwed up was Multiverses. That one died instantly, right? Then we have games, another game I played was the Suicide Squad game. That one was awful, it died very quickly. But let's talk about some more comparable games, okay? I recently fell in love with a game called Fragpunk. I loved it, but there was just too many other games out there, and I just stopped playing it. But let's look at Fragpunk. Fragpunk is a very solid game, but look at their numbers, all right? They peaked at 113,000, which is something that Marvel Rivals is doing. Let's see. Wait, why can't I close this? What are you doing? Why are you embarrassing me? There we go. Marvel Rivals is doing that in a 24-hour peak, what they did, right? Pretty much. Now look at Fragpunk's number. Okay, they're consistently like hovering around 5,000 if we're being generous. Like that sucks. This is a really good game, and it is somewhat an interesting spin on tactical shooters. They did something innovative and interesting, and they couldn't even survive. It just came out in March, and look at it. Look at it. Now, what you need to understand is not only is this a bigger decline than Marvel Rivals, but Marvel Rivals, like I said, their decline has managed to keep them in the top 10 because they started with hundreds of billions and now they're just a couple hundred billion short. They're still in the top 10. And this isn't even taking into consideration the console numbers. What's another game that came out recently? Oh, you know, I know a game, Spectre Divide. This game came out pretty recently. There's 2 players right now, all right? And it peaked at 30,000 games, as 30,000 players. And this is a game that like Shroud was a part of too, like part of creating it. This game died. This was a tactical shooter. This is what a game dying looks like. And look how instant that drop off was. All right. Then you have games like Concord, that embarrassment of a game. There's that game that was supposed to come out in early access, what was it, the day before? That had a 90% drop within 4 days because it was like a big old bait and switch. There are so many other games. Now, I would say the next closest game to Marvel Rivals is probably Helldivers. Helldivers, they peaked at 458,000, and now they're rocking, let's look at the last 3 months. So they got a spike, I think, when their new content came out last month, and now they're sitting around 67,000. This is probably the closest new game that has even held a candle to Marvel Rivals. If you look at these other games on the list, Counter-Strike 2, it's an anomaly. All three of these up here. These three are just titans, but look when they came out. Like Counter-Strike 2 is over a decade old. Dota 2, decade old, right? PUBG Battlegrounds. This one came out in 2017, right? Dune Awakening, massive hype around this game, and it's barely hovering over Marvel Rivals right now. What do you think this game's gonna look like in a month or two? So do you really think Marvel Rivals is dying? I can go down this list. Apex Legends is another one, and they came out, I think they came out a while ago, didn't they? 2020, so that was 5 years ago, all right? So that's probably the next closest, along with like Helldivers, but what other new game has done this? Like by any metric you have, even with a big decline in Marvel Rivals numbers, they're still a huge success. We have Rainbow Six Siege. When did that come out? 2015. They just did a big thing like where they're like giving away stuff for free or whatever, so they have a big spike. I don't think they've been, like if we look at the last 6 months, yeah, that was a big spike. So yeah, they were sitting around 70s, which is not terrible, but this game also came out 10 years ago. But anyways, to be the most successful game in the last 5 years, we're 6 months into this thing, and you cannot name another game, another live service game that has been doing these numbers. You can't. Even the gigantic, single player games. Obviously, people aren't gonna, they don't have that same kind of replayability as online competitive games, but like Black Myth Wukong, when that came out, that was at the top. Stellar Blade, that was up here too, right? I don't know where Stellar Blade is. Where is it? Oh, it's down here. But yeah, a lot of these games, like they just fail. They just fail. Marvel Rivals is not in trouble. Anyways, that was a much longer rant than I thought. I had to get this out there. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments, just so you know, you're wrong. The data doesn't back what you're saying. If Marvel Rivals drops below like 50K for like a month straight, then I think maybe we're in trouble. But I think you also have to take into consideration how many other games have less than 50K regularly that are still very successful. And again, this is a cross-platform game. So anyways, that's all I got for this video. I'm gonna shut up now. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, ring that notification bell. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll have other Marvel Rivals content for you in the near future. Thanks for letting me rant, and I'll see you in the next one.